SNAP, food stamps. A couple of changes there. We'll hit the highlights. You may have heard about this already. The food box program, one of the most innovative things. Actually, I think it originated at the USDA. Secretary Perdue wanted to give it a chance. We thought it was a tremendous idea. So what we do is propose that for folks who are on food stamps, part, not all, part of their benefits come in the actual sort of, and I don't want to steal somebody's copyright, but a blue apron type program where you actually receive the food instead of receive the cash. It lowers the cost to us because we can buy prices at wholesale whereas they have to buy it at retail. It also makes sure that they're getting nutritious food. So we're pretty excited about that.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brown Logan, and today we got to talk about what you just heard from White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney. He laid down the basis of what's going on here, but we need to get much more in detail in this video, and we're going to use this article to do so. You see the headline over my left-hand shoulder. It reads, Trump administration wants to decide what food SNAP recipients will get. That is a very misleading headline because Mick Mulvaney just said in the audio I played before I started talking that some of the SNAP, aka food stamps benefits, will not be on your card anymore. It'll be converted over into the food box, which is right now being called America's Harvest Box. So that is what's going on with that. That's the basis of what's happening here. And the thought process behind it is to reduce fraud, reduce waste, and to eventually reduce the SNAP program by about 30% over a period of years. We got to get into this article to see exactly what's going on. People are already triggered about it. I can tell you that right now. Walmart, Target, maybe they're going to be triggered about it because a lot of their money that they get from their stores comes from their food. And a lot of people are spending their EBT benefits, their SNAP benefits, whatever you want to call it, that spends as real money and they bank on that. But is it our job to subsidize all these companies through the federal government, through our tax dollars? I don't think so, but I digress. We see the picture here. And by the way, this is on NPR, this article. And there's another article that I saw that said Trump is trying to reduce federal funding to NPR and PBS. So if the article has a negative slant, maybe that's the reason, maybe not. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud. But you see the picture right here of a single mother, apparently, with her daughter, trying to feed her some food in front of a bunch of fresh veggies. So they want you to have that image in your mind as you're reading it. And I may be able to explain why this image is used a little bit later on in the article. The subhead here under this picture says Rebecca Ortiz offers her daughter a pasta sample at the store where she was using her food stamps to stock up on food for her family in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. The Trump administration is proposing drastic changes in the quote unquote food stamp program, now called SNAP. People getting that aid will lose much of their ability to choose the food that they buy. And the article reads, the Trump administration is proposing a major shakeup in one of the country's most important quote unquote safety net programs, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, also known as SNAP. Under the proposal, most SNAP recipients will lose much of their ability to choose the food they buy with their SNAP benefits. And let's stop right there. I was always taught that beggars cannot be choosers. If you are the person that says, hey, I need help from the government, I can't feed myself, I can't feed my family, I need a taxpayer to come out and help me, I need you to come out and help me, well, why should they be able to just buy whatever they want to buy? Seriously, because it's just like this. If you see somebody on the street that's homeless, right, and then they say, Mr. Can I get something to eat? I'm starving, please. And then you eating some food, and you say, here's the rest. And they say, no, I don't want that. Give me something else. Give me something better. I need something gluten-free. I'm a vegan. I don't want to eat this. It's against my religion. It's like, wait a minute. You came to me asking me for help. So take it or leave it. That's how I feel about the situation. People feel differently, but I don't really see how that makes any sense, you know? And the program should be temporary anyway. It shouldn't be what you live on for your whole life. So some people that work regular jobs temporarily eat oodles and noodles every day, or what you guys call it, ramen noodles. That's the whole thing. Regular people, regular numbers that work every day. We got to go out here, work our fingers to the bone, barely eat. And people that don't work for whatever the reason, I'm not judging, but you don't work or you don't have enough money after working to be able to take care of yourself. Then you say, well, I want to be able to go out and buy steak, lobster, shrimp, whatever. And beyond that, it's a fraud and the waste problem, which would prompt the food box. You can't be converting that food box into drugs. Maybe you could, but I doubt it. But I'm going to go ahead and just move on in the article. The proposal is included in the Trump administration budget request for fiscal year 2019. It will require approval from Congress. Under the proposal, which was announced Monday, low-income Americans who receive at least $90 per month, just over 80% of all SNAP recipients, will get about half of their benefits. Again, that's why I say the headline is misleading. In the article itself, on the same website that the headline was at, it says about half of the benefits, not all. So you still get the rest of your benefits. You can go to the store and pretty much buy whatever. If you want to sell it illegally and don't get caught for drugs, alcohol, hair weave, whatever, that's your business, but I digress. They would get about half of their benefits in the form of a USDA foods package. The package was described in the budget as consisting of shelf-stable milk, ready-to-eat cereals, pasta, peanut butter, beans, and canned fruit and vegetables. Sounds pretty good to me. You get all the bases covered. Okay, you have a peanut allergy. Okay, just put the peanut butter to the side, eat the cereal, drink the milk, beans, canned fruit, vegetables. And also, it does have canned meat. They didn't put this in here, but I saw it on Washington Post. It does have canned meat. Some of these articles don't have all the information. So you got your protein, you got your carbohydrates, you got your good food. And then also, I think it has fruit juice or some kind of juice that's not necessarily sugar filled. So it's a very well-rounded box. And it says the boxes will not include fresh fruits or vegetables. Well, they probably not going to have that happen because it'll probably be given out at a food bank or some kind of large warehouse. The way I would do it, if I was in charge of the program, I would say, okay, on your EBT card, it'll have your benefits on it, but it will also have credits for boxes. So let's say you come to the warehouse to get your box, you swipe your card, you get your box, and it'll notate on your card that you have one less box remaining for the month or however long the box is going to last. That's how this should work. It'd be easy. People say that, oh, it's going to be hard for elderly people to get there. Well, people got to go to the grocery store and shop. I see people that are 80, 90 years old all the time in the grocery store. So how is it any different than going to the grocery store and spending your EBT money, whatever kind of benefits you get, SSI, SNAP, TWIC, TANF, whatever kind of benefits you get, you still got to go to the store and spend the benefits, take the groceries home, and then cook or whatever you got to do. Currently, SNAP beneficiaries get money loaded into an EBT card they can use to buy what they want as long as it falls under the guidelines. The administration says the move is a cost-effective approach with no loss in food benefits to participants. Yes. Now, here's the thing about EBT cards. It's not like back in the day where you had the actual paper currency of food stamps. Back then, you would sell your stamps. So let's say you want to get some drugs, weed, or whatever. You would just exchange your food stamps to somebody for actual cash. And the way it would work is, let's say you have $100 worth of food stamps. You would sell it for $50 because you don't need the actual food stamps. You would rather have the actual money so you're able to go out there and buy your drugs, alcohol, or whatever. The person who gets the food stamps has a benefit of having more of their money go further. You see, so rather than just going to the store $50, now they got $100. And the way it happens now is you don't have to actually exchange paper currency. You go in there with the card and you may go with the person. You may stay in the car, but you just exchange it that way. So the person gives the money and then you get to have the food purchased for you from the person. They give it back to you. They give you the money. That's how it works. But when you have the actual food box, that whole fraud right there gets cut out, because you're not going to be able to exchange the food box necessarily for money. I mean, you may be able to, but it ain't like the way it happens with food stamps, the actual paper currency back in the day, or the EBT card swindle. The USDA believes that the state governments will be able to deliver this food at much less cost than SNAP recipients currently pay for food at retail stores, thus reducing the overall cost of SNAP program by $129 billion over the next 10 years. Yes, Mick Mulvaney said that because it just makes sense. If you are having the food delivered to you that is purchased in a wholesale way for a lot of people, the cost is reduced rather than you going to Food Line. You're skipping the middleman in that way. It just makes sense. This and other changes in the SNAP program, according to the Trump administration, will reduce SNAP budget by $213 billion over those years, cutting the program by almost 30%. I'm all for it. Joe Berg, CEO of Hunger Free America, a hunger advocacy group that also helps clients across food assistance services, says administration's plan left him baffled. Quote, they have managed to propose nearly the impossible, taking over $200 billion worth of food from low-income Americans while increasing bureaucracy and reducing choices, unquote, Berg says. Well, okay, $200 billion in food. Is it always food? Because we all know that food stamp fraud happens. There's been case after case after case of it being documented in the news where you have a lot of money that has been just wasted away in the food stamp fraud. I think it was one big case in Florida at a fish market or something. I can't really remember. If I could find that article, I will put it in the description box below. But this always happens. So you're actually going to be giving more food to people, and it'll be good and healthy food. That's a problem right there with obesity, heart problems, all kind of diseases that drag on the American healthcare system. That might make American healthcare more affordable if people ate properly and exercise and stuff like that. But the first thing is eating the right food. When you have food stamp recipients, I see them all the time, first of the month, their cart will be filled with pure junk. You're talking about Pop-Tarts, popsicles, Kool-Aid, all kind of just retarded stuff that does nothing but make them sicker. And then you wonder why your health insurance costs so much. The number one cause of death really is heart disease, if I'm not mistaken, followed by maybe car accidents, alcohol. It's right up there with all the things you would think cause death. Gun violence is way low on the list when you're talking about what actually kills people in America. Heart disease, diabetes, big problem. So this food box will not only reduce costs of expenditure when you're talking about the food stamp program, it will also reduce costs when you're talking about the medical system. But Berg says SNAP is efficient because it is a quote unquote free market model that helps recipients shop at stores for their benefits. The Trump administration's proposal, he said, is, quote, a far more intrusive big government answer. They think the bureaucrat in D.C. is better at picking out what your family needs than you are. Well, I mean, there are guidelines right now for what you can buy with SNAP, although that doesn't always get followed. And I think it's different from state to state. In California, I think you're able to buy hair weave with what's on your EBT card, which may include food stamp benefits. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But my point is that there are still regulations on the food stamp program, on welfare in general. So you can't just say that this is a big government measure. If anything, this is going to help reduce government's role when you're talking about healthcare and other things that the government has its foot into right now. Doug Greenway, president of the National WIC, that's Women, Infants, and Children, that's another food stamp type benefit association, echoed that sentiment. Removing choice from SNAP flies in the face of encouraging personal responsibility. He says a budget seems to assume that participating in SNAP is a character flaw. It's not about a character flaw because we understand that some people need these benefits. They need the help, but some people are abusing the system, and we all know that. And we also know that health is an important part of the issue. So if anything, this would encourage personal responsibility because people are not able to go out there and waste away their money, spend it frivolously, and then rely upon their benefit to try and sell at the end of the month to get money to be able to take care of this bill, take care of that bill. They know that they got to go out there and make something happen. They can't rely on this benefit. This is going to reduce the welfare state, which is going to encourage personal responsibility, not dampen it. It isn't clear how billions of dollars worth of food each year will be distributed to millions of SNAP recipients who live all over the country, including dense urban areas and sparsely populated rural regions. The budget says states will have, quote, substantial flexibility in designing the food box delivery system through existing infrastructure, partnerships, or commercial retail delivery services. Yes, as like I said earlier, go to a warehouse. And then people in rural areas, if they are dependent upon SNAP and they have to go to a grocery store, where are they going? The same grocery store could be a pickup spot for your America's Harvest box. It's very simple. It could be done at a church, at a food bank, grocery store, high school, anywhere where you have a big enough area to have people in line with their cards picking up their box. It's very simple. Or in a very dense urban area, it can be delivered because you are like jammed close to everybody. It can be dropped off right at your door. If you live in New York, it'd be easy for a food truck to go down the road in Brooklyn, Bronx, whatever, and go door to door, dropping off boxes. It wouldn't cost that much because everybody's real close together. Or better yet, in New York, you have a great public transport system. So all you got to do is go on the bus, go on the subway, walk down the block to the food bank, high school, church, and pick up your box and go back to the crib. Very simple, very easy. Critics of the proposal say distributing that much food presents a logistical nightmare. Among the problems, it is going to be costly and take money out of the SNAP program from the administrative side. It's going to stigmatize people when they have to go to certain places to pick up benefits, says Jen Will, president of the nonprofit Food Research and Action Center. Well, last I checked, you got to go down to the welfare, as the infamous Monique said in Precious. You still got to go down there to pick up your benefits regardless. And then when you're in the line, you pull out this ugly brown card or whatever it is and swipe that. So it's going to be the same difference. You know, it makes no difference how the food is picked up. It's still going to be picked up. And if they are embarrassed, then that's good. That's an incentive right there to get off of the actual welfare and then to go out there and to be productive in society. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. It's not even about trying to be mean. It's about just trying to get the country back on track. Stacy Dean, Vice President for Food Assistance Policy at the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, called the proposal, quote, radical and risky, unquote. The idea that government could save money by distributing food itself, she said, is, quote, ill-informed at best. It isn't clear whether the boxes will come with directions on how to cook the foods inside. I'll read that one more time. It isn't clear whether the boxes will come with directions on how to cook the foods inside. So I guess if you are on SNAP, you're on EBT, WIC, TANF, or whatever, you can't cook, you can't boil water, you can't put peanut butter on some bread and combine it with jelly and eat that. I mean, come on. See, this right here, this is more of a stigma coming from NPR than me saying that a person who is on benefits should be trying to get off of it and work towards being independent or having to go to the store to pick up the actual box. I mean, come on. This is crazy. Quote, it could be something that SNAP recipients don't even know how to make, said Miguelina Diaz, whose team at Hunger Free America works directly with families to help them access food aid. We deal with different people of different backgrounds. Limited them by providing them a staple box will limit the choices of food they can prepare for their families. I'm sorry. If you can't make peanut butter and jelly, if you can't just drink the milk, I mean, come on, let's be for real. If you can't do these things, I mean, they got Google. People are on their phone all day in the hood talking about World Star. If you can do all that, sure, you can go on your phone and then Google how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But I digress. According to Dean from CBPPP, the Trump administration wants to trim an additional $80 billion from the SNAP program by cutting off about 4 million people who currently receive food assistance. Most of them live in states that have decided to loosen the program's eligibility requirements slightly. Under administration's proposal, states would no longer be able to do so. I'm all for that 100%, because a lot of those people are just abusing the program, not really using it because they have an actual dire need. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue said in early December that he wanted states to having flexibility and doling out SNAP, announcing the agency wanted to hear about programs from states that don't increase the cost of the program and will combat what he said is fraud and waste. At the National Grocers Association conference over the weekend, Perdue said the budget has, quote, common sense reforms that call for a greater consistency across nutritional programs. And I also read a statement from Sonny Perdue that came out recently. I think it was on the Washington Post. He kind of rebuffed the whole Blue Apron idea or the concept that Mick Mulvaney talked about. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The logistics of the program are the exact same. You get a box with food in it. It gets brought to you. That's it. Blue Apron is just more expensive. What we're doing here with the food stamp SNAP program will be much less expensive, but same idea. Nutrition programs, including SNAP, make up about 80% of the USDA's budget in the most recent farm bill, making it the largest portion of agency spending. About 44 million people participated in SNAP each month in 2016 at an annual cost of $70.9 billion. Nearly 2/3 were under 18, over 60 or disabled, according to the USDA. Congress largely ignored Trump's proposed budget for SNAP last year when he wanted to cut the funding by a quarter. This time, it's a farm bill year, meaning many budgetary decisions will be made among the House and Senate Agriculture committees. Several critics we spoke with expressed skepticism that the proposed SNAP changes would pass in Congress. Even so, Will says, wherever you see proposals like this that attack SNAP, it harms the program even if it doesn't pass, and the long-term reducing support for the program and stigmatizing people who use it. A very interesting article from NPR. Like I said, I am on NPR, as you see right here. I'm going to scroll back up and wrap it up. At the end of the day, I say the program is great from what I hear so far. I'm 100% with it. Some say that the government shouldn't be involved, but the government is already involved. If you are an EBT, WIC, TANF, whatever kind of recipient, a government benefit welfare recipient, you are in bed with the government. They're in bed with you. So at a certain point, they can say what goes and what doesn't because you're asking them for the assistance and the other way around. So they have the leverage and you don't. And I think this is not something that's going to be evil or mean or anything like that. It's really in an altruistic way going to help all people that are on the program. It's not going to hurt them. So at the end of the day, as I close, I'm all for this. Healthy food in the box. People talking about no fresh veggies. I mean, I'm sorry. Okay. It's going to be non-perishable. It'll probably be stored at a food bank or a church the same way it is now. A lot of churches and food banks give out boxes just like this right now. And really, it'll probably help these places because now they're able to get the boxes at a lower cost and give the food to where it really has to go to people that are really in need. They go with their card, present it, say, hey, this is what I need. They get the box and they're getting better food. And like I said, not only will that reduce costs of the SNAP program, it'll also reduce costs of medical care because the big problem right now is obesity, heart disease, alcoholism. If you can't, number one, sell your stamps or your SNAP benefits as it is now on the card, if you can't sell that for drugs, for alcohol, for other things that are going to harm your body, that right there is going to help people in the long run. And if you cannot buy sugary snacks, fat-filled foods with no nutritional value and stuff like that with your car on the first of the month, people having their whole cart stacked up with just nonsense. If you can't do that as much, because like I said, not all of SNAP benefits will be converted into the America's Harvest box. If only half of the benefits are on the box, you would still see a decrease in people that have these debilitating diseases like diabetes and stuff like that. That's going to reduce the cost of healthcare. And it might even help you to get insurance because people are going to be a little bit more healthy, therefore reducing the cost of healthcare. People think about things like this as I close. These things are thought about not only just for the person it's going to affect that might be offended. It's about the whole country as a collective. Who is it going to help? Who is it going to hurt? Let's talk about long game, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Think that way. Don't think like that in a very nearsighted and myopic way. Think with a very open mind and think about the long game into the future. So what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea that we're going to have these food boxes, or is it a bad idea? If it's a good idea, tell me why. If it's a bad idea, tell me why. You know how I feel, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.